Right, 8 minutes past 5. Now, the UKIP leader Nigel Farage is in Hartlepool tonight ahead of the party's North East Conference in the town. Last year, UKIP picked up its first North East member of the European Parliament. Our political reporter Luke Walton has been talking to Hartlepool shoppers about their judgment on UKIP and its leader.
What do you make of Nigel Farage?
Well, it's a new bit of fresh air, I think this is it. If he actually did something for a change, instead of all the promises. Everybody makes promises, but nobody fulfills them.
Would you be at all attracted by the UKIP message by Nigel Farage?
I think so, yes. He seems to have a lot to offer, but whether he keeps up with these promises, that's, a thing you have to wait and see what happens.
Can I ask how you normally vote?
I used to vote Labour, but I don't now.
Why not?
Because sometimes they're full of empty promises, to be honest with you.
Do you like UKIP? Do you like their message?
Nope.
Why not?
Because I think we need to be in Europe, and they want to go out of Europe. That's where our trade is.
They're talking up their chances here in the North East. What do you make of that?
I think the party you vote for, if you can't make your mind up, to be honest, and I don't think we've got a chance in Hartlepool.
Would you be at all interested in voting for them?
I will, yeah.
You will? Why is that?
Some of the policies.
What sort of areas?
Immigration, definitely, and
they tighten up on immigration. You think that's a good thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Why is that?
Well, we're only a small island, and we can only take so many.
Could Nigel Farage win your vote?
Again, it's all just become a popularity contest. He's seen drinking, he's seen doing this, doing that, doing the other. It's all a sham.
Right, at 5:10, let's talk live now to Philip Broughton, who's UKIP's prospective parliamentary candidate for Hartlepool. Far from scientific, but obviously people chosen there at random. And should we just go through some of the phrases used? Empty promises, want to stay in Europe, big size from one gentleman, and one guy said it's all a sham. Do you want to respond to some of those?
Well, I think also, Neil, there was some comments in there saying that these are people who've voted Labour a lot of the time and they're coming over to UKIP. And, I think actually a lot of people, when I'm knocking on the doors in Hartlepool are saying to me, look, whether they're from a Labour background or a Conservative background in the past, they're saying, look, we like what we see from Nigel Farage, we like what we hear from UKIP, we're a common sense party, we want to protect the NHS, we want to control immigration, yes, we want to have a referendum on the EU, so the British people, finally get a chance to have their say. We haven't had a referendum on this question for 40 years. And
they're
I would
all
argue...
empty promises, aren't they?
Well, not really, no. If you vote for UKIP MPs and you get a number of UKIP MPs, which I believe we will at the general election, then they will vote in certain ways, in Parliament to make sure we get some of the things that we're talking about. Absolutely.
This is not a sham?
No, absolutely not a sham. No, this party is legitimate. It's a democratic, open party. We welcome anyone from any political background. We're saying, we need real change in this country.
Well, tell me as a party how ambitious you are for the BBC Tees region. You want to see it in Hartlepool. Are you going to get it?
Well, I'm working extremely hard to try and win the Hartlepool seat.
I know you're going to get it. Did you feel as if you will?
I think we've got a very, very good chance of winning because I think the Labour Party have left Hartlepool and really they haven't done the job there. They've really abandoned Hartlepool in a lot of ways. And I think there's a lot of criticism of the current MP and I think they've got a real
fairness.
Well, not just from me, but from other people as well. And I think the point is people are looking for something different. They're looking for something fresh. They're looking for something to change and actually challenge the system in Parliament. And UKIP is the only party in British politics that is challenging the three established parties that have let people down for so long.
OK, you've focused on Hartlepool. It's a big weekend, of course, which we'll get to in a moment. What about the rest of the region? As a party, how many seats, how ambitious are you for the rest of the region?
Neil, I have no idea how many seats we're going to win, but I think, you see there's a lot of problems over in Redcar at the moment. We just heard that on the news. We've got Chris Gallagher over there. He's working really, really hard. I think, we've got a chance in a number of seats, I think, in the North East. We'll see how many we get. But, across the country, I think people are realising that, the Labour Party have let them down here in the North East and they're looking for something different. And the European elections show that UKIP are the real opposition to Labour in this region.
Stick your headphones on, if you wouldn't mind, for me, please, because your leader, Nigel Farage, has abandoned a public appearance today. This is after angry crowds gathered in Rotherham. Let's just hear some of that.
Why rely on a stockbroker like Farage to try and look after the interests of ordinary working people?
It is what happens if you have the failure of a multicultural policy that seeks to divide communities and not unite communities. And What we will seek to do from here on in is to promote a concept of interculturalism, recognising there are differences, but crucially, that the law has to be applied equally to everybody.
Just to clarify that, the argument made against Nigel Farage there is that he was there to stir things up. This is off the back of, obviously, all the critical report at Rotherham Council. He's just an embarrassment at times, isn't he?
No,
he's
absolutely.
a liability.
No, absolutely not, Neil. What Nigel Farage was there today for was he was opening the office for Jane Collins, who's our parliamentary candidate for Rotherham. You know, and I think it's an absolute disgrace.
The day after all this fallout.
Oh, I think it's an absolute disgrace when people are trying to barricade a political leader, you know, into an office. You know, we are an open democratic political party, you know, and we want to discuss and talk to people, and I think, you know, that's what people want. They want to hear the argument from UKIP, they want to hear the argument from the Conservatives, from Labour, from the Liberal Democrats, and then let the people make up their own minds at the election. That's what politics and democracy is all about. You know, and I don't think it does any good whatsoever in trying to shout people down, you know, or trying to, you know, have a big protest against somebody. At the end of the day, listen to what somebody says. If you agree with what they say, great, vote for them. If you don't have to vote for us. You know, it's a democratic system.
OK, you're going to give a speech over the weekend as well. You're really going to home in on the hospital at Hartlepool, aren't you? That's your key area.
Yes, I think, you know, the Labour Party have let down the people of Hartlepool, and in particular Ian Wright, on the hospital. You know, he's been the MP for 10 years. He sat there silently and said nothing about it. You know, I launched the Facebook campaign to try and save the Hartlepool Hospital, you know, 7-8 months ago, and obviously we've got 2,600 people have joined that.
So people vote for you, you can save Hartlepool Hospital, is that what you're telling me?
Well, we're absolutely, we're trying to, absolutely.
Yes,
and
I'm very different to saving them,
I am saying very, very clearly, and so is UKIP, that we support the NHS, free at the point of use, in the public sector. We do not want to see privatisation, and I would remind people, you know, I think people forget this, you know, the privatisation of the health service started under Tony Blair's prime ministership. You know, the Competition Act of 2006, it's all out there for people to go and look at. You know, the Labour Party started the privatisation of the health service. Now, what we're saying is we've got to protect the NHS and keep it free at the point of use and in the public sector, and that's exactly what I'm going to do if I become the MP for Hartlepool.
How many times have you met your leader?
I've met him a few times, yes. Nigel's a great guy, and he's straightforward, he's honest, he's passionate, you know, and I think that would be a lot better than the politicians we have at the moment. And one more important thing,
just very quickly,
you know, Nigel Farage is from a real background, he's got real life experience, a lot like myself and a lot of the other UKIP candidates. You know, we've had real jobs in the real world, and we understand that we want to fight in Parliament for common sense.
It's not just for publicity, they're stood there with a pint and a cigarette.
Not. No, it is about fighting for the things you believe in. And again, you know, we say we want to protect the NHS and keep it free at the point of use. Yes, we've got to control immigration because, you know, we think 260,000 people coming into the country every year is too many. Let's have that Australian, you know, points-based system which controls immigration.
Philip, we could talk all night, as you well know. I know you've got to get to you're off to the Grand Hotel tonight, and then it's the Borough Hall over the weekend, isn't it?
Yes, it's